Hi there. Welcome to UNWOMANLY, the podcast where taboo topics are never off the table and discussions with an open mind and dirty mouth are always encouraged. My name is Jen Danczak, and I'm recording here in Hollywood, California, with a special guest, the first ever recurring guest, a comedy writing gem, and one of LA's newest and hottest realtors, Becca fucking Wolfley.
Hey!
Welcome back.
What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much.
Yes, girl.
Yes, I am a woman of many talents. So.
Of course. And I had such a blast with you talking about dating in LA versus our hometowns and dating in the digital world. So
I know. What a layered topic anyway.
I know.
So this is about to be a good one tonight, too.
Oh, yeah. We are back with more, bitches. We wanted to discuss our breakups we've been through. The good, the bad, the epic, and even some paranormal activity.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. The ghosts.
Hey!
Yay!
Oh, clever play,
I
Jen.
liked that one.
That was good. That was good. I was like, where is this going? I was like, we didn't discuss this prior, but turns out we did.
Hell yeah, girl.
Plenty of ghosts. Ourselves, we too are ghosts to an extent.
Yeah. We've become spirits in the world.
And then we rose again, so.
Yeah. Like Jesus. Like...
Yes, we are comparing ourselves to Jesus.
That's where this is going, guys. But let's start with our very first breakup. When was yours? Because mine was when I was like really young, in my opinion.
So like very first big breakup,
big
right?
One, yeah.
The first biggest emotionally taxing one.
Yeah.
I had dated a guy in high school. I was 17. He was about 2 years older than me. And I literally contemplating going to community college for this guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And for context, I had a full ride scholarship to any in-state university.
What?
And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah. Well, it's because I was poor, but we'll get it's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But basically, I was a really good student and got a full ride to any university. And anyway, I was seeing this guy, my first like real boyfriend in high school, and I did adore him. Like, he was so fun to be around. He made me forget about the stresses of life, things like that. My first big breakup was between him, and it's because I found out he cheated on me with another woman, and that was hard for me. And at the time of the breakup, I found out because the woman reached out to me.
Oh my gosh.
And finally spilled the beans. He didn't even tell me honestly.
Oh my God.
You know, the woman reached out to me and she said, listen, on Facebook Messenger of all places. Mm-hmm. And she said, listen, like, I've been debating whether or not to tell you, but I feel like it's important. And like, shout out to that woman. I don't remember her name, and not because I didn't want to, but because it's been so long, right? Mm-hmm. But she told me, and I said, okay, thank you for letting me know. So I sure as shit let his ass know. Mm-hmm. I sent him a text, probably something really mean. But the next day, because I was working when I found out. I was working at a Little Caesars Pizza. Yes. That was my first job.
Yes.
So I found out, and I think the next day I collected all of his shit that I had, and I put it in a box, and his family and I were like pretty close while we were together. I really enjoyed his family. Great, wonderful family. I mean, you know, someone was home, and so I took his shit in this box and I walked straight through his front door. His dad was just sitting smoking a cig on the couch, you know. He comes out of the hallway, my ex at the time, or my boyfriend ex at the time, right? He comes out of the hallway. He knows I'm there, right? It's almost as if I walk into a room and there's a fucking presence, right? You know, it's a bad one. In this case, it's a bad one. But I took the box of shit, I shoved it into his chest. And he like was shocked, I think, or someone didn't know what to do. So he like let it fall to the ground, and I screamed something at him to the point where his dad was like, take it outside.
Oh, damn.
And so I like shoved the shit into his chest. It fell, whatever, shit went everywhere. And I probably said something like, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And like, I left, and that was that. And yeah, that was my first big break. I was torn up about that for a couple months, even during like my senior year of high school prom. Like, it was kind of rough for me to even start seeing somebody else because I wasn't over that situation.
Damn. Yeah, I did that exact same thing before, where it was somebody I was pretty serious with in high school, and we broke up, and I found out he was dating another chick, like, very, very, very shortly, even kind of, like, without really breaking up. And so, like, I took all of his shit, put it in a trash bag, and went over to his place.
Trash bag, great move.
Trash
on your
bag.
part.
Taking the fucking trash out, bitch.
What a...
You know? And so I put it in a trash bag, and I went over to his place, and he was there with the chick in the basement, and, like, the mom, like, called down to him, and he came up and did not know.
He was really,
at all.
what do I do?
What is this? So I just fucking threw it to him, and I was just, like, out, like, after right then. And that was the end of that. But, I mean, my very first breakup was, like, obviously, I had, like, those little, like, internet official ones with, like, classmates, like, in, like,
on MySpace?
Yes, MySpace, like, little instant messenger.
I actually think my MySpace still says, I love my boyfriend.
We gotta find our logins for that shit.
Yikes.
That would be hilarious.
I'm gonna put that task on the back burner for sure.
I even, like, dated people that, like, went to, like, the opposite middle school across town because we were, like, competing, you know, and, like, just on instant messenger, like, never even met them.
Okay, that's the smartest thing to do, though, because my first boyfriend in high school did go to a different high school, right? I come from such a small town that if you were, like, dating somebody, by the time you were done with high school, you had fucked half of an inner circle, right? And so I was like, I'm not about that life. I'm gonna, like, diversify my portfolio.
For me, it was just, like, kissing or blowjobs.
Oh, BJs.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't get into BJs until, like, 4 years ago.
I think it was only, like, 3 different guys I gave BJs to in high school.
Till
4 years ago.
Yeah. Like, men don't deserve it.
Aww.
Which I'm kind of still holding on to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after this fucking episode, you know, there's a reason why.
Yeah. The bar is so low.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, my first big breakup, though, that I, like, took pretty hard was, like, the first guy I kissed. Like,
Aww.
we were like, dating on and off for, like, over a year, and, like, we went through, like, quite a bit, just, like, as, like, a little high school couple, you know? So that was just kind of a tough one for me at the time. But, I mean, he's doing super well now. I think he's, like, an engineer for, like, Google and, like, happily married.
That's my type, Jen. That's my type.
That's my type.
That's my type. But anyway, do you have his number still?
We're on, yeah. I think he creeps on my Instagram still.
I love that.
Yeah, we're
always
Facebook
do.
friends.
They always
do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But what do you think the best way to break up is? Like, what's acceptable? What's ideal? Like, do you think in person is always the best way to go in every situation, no matter what?
Yeah, I think the least you can do after somebody is you had intercourse with somebody, right? Literally, men have been inside of us,
right?
And to have the nerve and audacity not to just break up with us in person. And it's not as if we can't handle it. Like, I have had several in-person breakups, and even if, like, the closure isn't perfect, whatever, which it never is, but at least these people had the audacity, or the respect to tell me in person.
Yeah.
The first time I experienced that was with the guy I had been seeing and sleeping with for like 2 months. I was outside of college. I was probably 23 at the time. And you know what? He sat me down and he was like, listen, I don't think this is going to work out. And for me at the time, like, I didn't understand, like, I just didn't understand. I wanted, like, so much more rationale, right? I'm a person of reason. I'm very articulate, and so I expect the same from my partner. Like, why? Oh, why? And I have to understand that it might not be something they're ready to tell me or is worth telling me.
Right.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter why. But the fact that this person sat me down and had a conversation maybe not a conversation, but said it to my face is so much more, carries so much more weight than to shoot me a text or literally ghost me. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I'm saying this out of somebody who I was pursuing, right? Not necessarily like I don't care if a guy I fucked one time and went on a couple dates with, like, ghosts me or tells me he's not interested in seeing me, because like, we're on the same playing field there. When I decide to get into a relationship with somebody and be exclusive with somebody, that's a conversation that happens. When you want to break up with me, we deserve that much, right? We deserve to have that in-person conversation. That's the least you can do, is to look me in the eye and say, listen, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
And so I think in person is the best way. it's not what happens, right?
Right, of course.
I think sending a text is okay, especially as we get older. Like, I'm managing my expectations with men, which were, I guess, too high to begin with.
Of course.
But yeah, I have had guys text me and say, hey, like, I've really enjoyed our time, but like, I don't think it's gonna work out long term.
Yeah.
And
it might not always be us. It might be them, you know?
No, it totally is them. And I've had, oh my God, I've constantly, actually mentioned this in our last episode, but like, I've often been a person who has gotten the message of, I'm not ready. I thought I was ready. I'm not ready. I'm still hung up on an ex, or I need to like experience time alone for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I got those texts, right? I'm glad I got something rather than nothing. So
yeah.
Text isn't perfect, but it's normalized at this point. And it does depend on the caliber of the relationship. But what do you think? I mean, would you agree with that? Or do you think that, like, obviously in person is ideal. I think that is the higher caliber, like, utmost best way to break up with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
But what is acceptable?
For me, I obviously prefer in person over everything else if possible. I mean, but everything is also situational. I mean, for more cordial occasions to not burn bridges, obviously I would want to do in person. But I mean, there's some situations that happen where the person doesn't even fucking deserve another meetup or any more of my time. Or even a fucking phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, some texts or phone calls can even be seen as a pussy way out, you know? Like the infamous Joe Jonas phone call with Taylor Swift for 28 seconds where he just broke up with her ass and come on, bro. You couldn't come on. I know we're young. They were young. But still, that's just so fucked up. But then again, it's all based on the situation and events leading to it. If you cheat and shit, you know?
Yeah.
How about ghosting though? You've mentioned that. I mean,
So I alluded to ghosting, right? And it's when you have been on a couple dates with somebody and I don't know, this was hard for me at first because I'm so excited to date people. I get so excited about dating because when I choose somebody, right, I'm very picky when it comes to men because I do not trust them. Mm-hmm. But when I choose somebody, when I choose to date, and this is my own issues I have to deal with, is that because I chose them, as if they should know to be flattered by that, right?
Right. As
if they should know that out of the 50, 100 plus men I've scrolled through or swiped on, as if it's 1999, swiped on, that I chose them to go on a date with me. You know, that's
Aww.
It might be a little bit of my ego speaking, right? But anyway, when they break up with me, I'm just so pissed off. And even worse, it took me a while to get accustomed to ghosting. I'm kind of used to it now, but I think it's because I also started ghosting.
Right. So you've been the ghoster and the ghosty.
Yeah. So the first couple times I was ghosted, I was like, fuck these guys. I chose you. The nerve, the audacity.
The audacity. I love saying that.
And the audacity. And then as I started dating and I've kind of reapproached my perspective on dating, which is men ain't shit. And they never thought we were shit. And if they're not ready for an actual serious relationship, then I'm just going to reap the benefits of what it could be and enjoy it while it lasts for the 3 or 4 dates, right? Until ultimately it fizzles out, which I've come to terms with and am enjoying so far.
So you've had the slow trail off, not just a cold turkey.
Yeah, I think I have had a couple. Oh my gosh, in college one time I had a guy who I was exclusively seeing him. We were spending a lot of time together, a little summer romance. He was so caring. It was the first guy who was really nurturing. Mm-hmm. You know, when you meet the first guy of something, right? The first guy who's good on paper, the first guy who's truly nurturing and shows and talks and acts like he cares, right?
Right.
So he's the first guy who could carry a conversation with me. We could talk for hours. Was very good in bed. And also
always a plus.
There was one time. So we had a mutual friend, and I worked with that mutual friend. And I had said one time, I was texting him one morning, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so hungover. I'm not feeling great." And literally 20 minutes later, my coworker walks in with a banana. And he said, "Hey, so-and-so wanted you to have this because you weren't feeling good." And so this guy, even went out of his way to, make sure, I felt okay. Those little actions, right? When you don't expect it are really nice. Anyway, we were hooking up. It was fun, wild summer, hot and heavy. And then he just falls off. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I thought he was just stoned the whole time. He fell off, and I found out 2 days later, he, texted me, and he's like, hey, let's talk. And I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. But again, an in-person breakup. He came over and he said, listen, like, I'm so sorry, but this isn't going to work out. And of course, at the time, like, I was still not okay with just moving on. Like, I had invested emotionally in this person. And I found out that he just got back with his ex-girlfriend.
Unbelievable.
She lived 3 doors down from me.
That's so fucking awkward, dude.
So I would like fucking see his car. I'm like, should I slash these tires?
Right. Oh my God.
But no, he would actually like, I mean, those things happen for the best, right? Like within a month, I was fine. Like I felt fine. I did have another guy a couple years later. I was living in Indianapolis. And we're actually very good friends now. So, me, I like the last laugh. So, another little summer romance. We had a mutual friend. That's how I met him. And he was wonderful. We went to a Pacers game together. Like, we had these really fun dates. We could laugh together. It was so fun. And then, again, one day he just ghosted me. Mm-hmm. And this guy, like, our relationship was pretty intimate to that point where I thought his communication had fallen off to the point of concern for me. I ended up thinking that he was in the hospital.
Wow.
Like literally, and this sounds crazy ex-girlfriend like, but you have to keep in mind that I had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. So I drove to his apartment to see if his car was there, to see if he was okay, and I wasn't getting a text back, nothing. And so,
bitch, you gotta burp. You can't hold it.
I actually didn't hold it in. I just like kind of choked on it. Anyway, he finally texted me back, and it's almost as if history repeats itself.
Oh God!
He got back together with his ex, and of course that was a dumpster fire of a relationship. So months later, he apologized to me, which was very kind. And that is why we're still friends today, is because he did profusely apologize. And he said, I'm so sorry I treated you like that. You deserve so much more, blah, blah, blah. I was like, bitch, I know. But thank you for acknowledging it, And so, and anyway, 2 years ago, he was actually my wedding date. We had a great time. We're very good friends now. But, yeah, he'll never touch me again.
Dude, I mean, that happened to me. I ended up being in a wedding date with an ex of mine, too. Like,
really?
After we broke up, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when you, like, can be platonic afterwards.
Yeah.
I never expected. I'm cordial with my serious exes. I'm pretty cordial with. There's, like, a couple that I'm like, you could absolutely go fuck yourself for the rest of your life.
Right.
Yeah, no, it is nice when you can learn from each other and still be cordial for the future. Yeah. So those were relationships I was legit ghosted in. Like, that sucks. It's one thing when you go on a couple dates with somebody.
Right.
And they ghost you, you're like, whatever, you're not shit. But, like, when you're in an exclusive
full-blown, like, this is,
Has that ever happened to you?
I mean, as the ghostie, I would say, like, probably, like, a big handful of times. It wasn't anything terribly serious, though.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I mean...
That's good. In hindsight, right?
Yeah.
2020, like,
yeah.
In hindsight.
It was literally 2020. But yeah, there was, like, a guy I dated for, like, 2 months that sticks out to me. Everything's fucking 2 months. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a recurring little thing
legit,
today.
Even the serious, like, the last guy I dated seriously, 2 months, and then just exploded.
Yeah.
Like, it was so bad.
It's interesting how that
works out. We learned a lot about each other really quickly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we were taking things slow. Like, we weren't fucking, but, like, definitely going out, like, on dinner dates, like, lunch dates. I was definitely
fucking this guy. The guy I'm talking about is...
Oh, nice.
But that'll end it sooner, so...
Right.
Anyway.
I mean, we would go out on, like, Sunset Boulevard, and, like, he just, like, randomly was like, nah. Like, we didn't, like, talk for, like, a week. Like, we had, like, one FaceTime call, and then never to be seen again. But, like, 4 months later, he, like, texted me randomly and was like, hey, hope you've been well. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, so, like, just... it was like the slow trail off, like sped up on like the Top Thrill dragster.
I still have a guy. I have a guy who I was super like excited about, who I met, who literally just hit me up the other day. But we went on 2 dates, and he fell off completely. I mean, because the rationale, right, on his end is that he had, he was busy with work, right, and then side projects, things like that. And I'm like, okay, like, fine, but don't date then, like, I'm not exactly. I'm just not like with a person like that. I was very interested in him. And so with somebody like that, I'm not interested in casual affairs with a person like that, because I was like, I really admired him.
Right.
And so that's somebody I wouldn't just want to hook up with and be okay with leaving. Right. Yeah. I would have wanted to develop something with him. So, but yeah, he texted me the other day. He's like, hey, what's going on?
Oh my God. But that's the thing. Like, I mean, I've maybe had like a small handful of times when it wasn't anything serious that like, it was like very quickly like, not going to become a relationship, like the kind of connections where it's just over text and like never really meeting or anything.
That's simping. Yeah. That's what they call simping.
Oh my God. I need to look this up because I still don't know.
No, my friend Perry was trying to teach me about this. I could be wrong. So we'll have to look this up. Trying to be hip with the Gen, what is it? The Gen Yers?
Gen Z.
The Gen Z. Why did I say Gen?
What's Gen Y?
Gen Y? I don't know.
We're millennials. I don't know what Gen Y is.
And millennial is not part of the alphabet, so I'm just confused at this point. I'm just confused. But anyway, my friend Perry was saying that somebody who is a simp is like when you're simping, it's like you're attracted to somebody and you communicate but it's a dead end. It'll never go anywhere, right? You don't even like see each other, right? It's like being in love with somebody 6 states over, right?
Right.
Anyway, is that what you were doing?
I mean, it's just one of those things, like, I cannot ghost somebody that I'm in a fucking relationship with. It has to be something that's not serious whatsoever yet, or even, like...
Oh, so you have a level of respect
I have some sort of fucking class in me. Yeah. Just a little bit, But it's just, like, I just can't see myself doing that to someone and just leading them on and, like, like, just let people fucking know. But the thing is, like... If we have ghosted someone, like, can we even be pissed off when it happens to us?
No. And you know what? That's something I've come to terms with, especially, like, being as active in dating as I've been as of late. Yeah, you can't, because sometimes you...
Glug, 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 glug. Love it.
Pour it out, pour it out. Pour it up is the term, I guess, the lyric. Pour it up. Okay. Na, 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 na. Okay.
I love Rihanna, right? Rihanna?
Yeah, it's
okay, I was like, I would love to see her in concert. Fuck, bro.
I would just...
I would lose my mind.
I would lose my clothes.
Yes! Mine's gone, clothes gone.
Just everyone's on Molly. Anyway, what were we just talking about? Oh, if you could be mad ghosting.
Yeah,
if you could be mad. I'm not. The more active I am in dating, like, you go on a couple dates with somebody, and then you get home and you're like, and then the next morning you're like, and then you never talk to them again, right? So it's a couple date thing where it's like, it doesn't matter, right? I get that. I've gotten that, so it's fine. But also, for me, it's like if it is an explicit, committed relationship, if you have the conversation, like I said earlier, that's when it matters. Like, if you have an explicit conversation with somebody that says, we're not seeing anybody else, this is a relationship now, then they ghost you, that's fucking bonkers. Like, that's rude. That's rude as fuck. And, like, you shouldn't be with anybody like that anyway. It sucks that it sucks that you had to find out that way, but like, I mean, totally immature, juvenile.
Right. Oh, that's perfect fucking term for that shit. Absolutely. Do you have any of your worst breakups off the top of your head that, like, you would probably rank, you know what I mean? Like, as like, yeah, this is probably the shittiest thing I've ever been through when it comes to dudes,
Yeah. So oh my God, this is the only ex who I probably, like, aggressively do not like.
Mm-hmm. Like, if you were to see him, you
would never give him the time of day again. Like, the nerve of this person to manipulate and, like, my emotions and my time. And anyway,
the audacity,
the
nerve
of men. This guy. So I was seeing somebody in Indianapolis. He worked for Indianapolis. This guy is actually the first guy I dated who was really good on paper. He was an aerospace engineer. He was attractive. He had, like, he had a roommate, but he had his own apartment, right? Didn't live with his parents, like, was established. We met on a dating app, and it was good until it wasn't.
That should be just like the title of my EP coming out. Good until it wasn't.
That's the name of Kalani's last album. So.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it was good until it wasn't.
Oh, well, fuck. Okay.
So, yeah, sorry.
JK, it's taken.
It's taken. Yeah. Anyway,
Damn.
this guy had a stint in San Francisco for work. So he was going to be in San Francisco for a couple months. And we were seeing each other about a month or 2 months, right? Prior to that, we were seeing
Always
each other. And so we weren't we didn't have the conversation of exclusivity. But I mean, as far as I was concerned, he wasn't seeing anybody else. He wasn't talking to anybody else.
Yeah.
I was the consistent lay there, right?
Right.
But while he was away in San Francisco, I was working as a writer at a nonprofit at this point. And so I was and I was living on my own. I was taking care of myself. I've been taking care of myself since a very young age. And so, I decided I was going to fly out there and visit him. And it would be my first time in California. So I was very excited. Ruined the trip for me. He was terrible the whole time.
Fucker.
He was just not fun. And in hindsight, I realized it was him kind of distancing himself. He wanted me to break up with him because he had no courage to do it himself. Right? I get back to Indiana, and eventually I'm so emotionally torn up and sick.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's the whole fucking point of this podcast.
But it's you're telling a deep story, and I'm over here
you are burping in the middle of my conversation with myself. Anyway, so I'm so emotionally torn up and fucked up from this relationship, and this guy doesn't give a fuck. I'm a grain of salt to him.
Yeah.
I find out that I'm also storing some of his furniture in my apartment while he's away in San Francisco. I find out that he's been seeing somebody the whole time he's been in San Francisco. And so
ridiculous.
That was bad. And it was a point where he was seeing somebody, and I threatened him. I found out who she was. I found her Instagram. This is back on Instagram, when if you clicked on their tagged photos, you saw a whole nother grid.
Yeah.
And
or what they like.
But it wasn't the ones they curated. It didn't matter what they were tagged in, it would show up. And this woman who he was seeing had tagged him and was like, happy birthday to the best boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. This guy, I had finally broken up with him, but I still felt like we were still emotionally tied together. Oh my
God.
I sent this guy a fucking signed Modest Mouse album. Shit cost me $200 to buy and send to him. And then I found out he was cheating on me the whole time.
Unfucking real.
So I threatened him. I threatened to tell her. And in hindsight, I didn't end up telling her because he begged me not to tell her. And I was like, she'll find out soon enough. Well, a part of me knew that it wouldn't work out anyway. He was going to come back to Indianapolis. He ended up coming back to Indianapolis. And that didn't work out, right? That relationship. And so I ended up not telling her. And in hindsight, I wish I did. Because I do think we need to look out for each other as women. But here's the catch of that whole story is that worst guy I've ever dated, right? Did not care. Ended up actually he actually really made fun of his own friends in a very mean terrible way, and just not a good person.
Aww.
Anyway, I had stored his prized couch in my apartment. And when he moved back to Indianapolis, he was hitting me up hey, can I come pick up the couch? I'm sorry for everything that happened, blah blah blah, same shit, different day. And then eventually I let it go for a couple days. I was like, you can fucking sit on this shit, right? The shit you did, you can sit on it and regret it. And I'm going to sit on your couch. So
exactly.
And
you should have fucked somebody else on that couch.
I should have fucked somebody else. I debated putting it out and putting the free sign on it. I was literally so close to doing that, Jen. I was so fucking close. And then I was like, there's part of me that still has a beating heart.
Right, exactly.
And so I didn't. But when he came to get the couch, finally, I allowed him to come into my apartment and get the couch. I was just Frank peed on that a lot. My dog Frank.
Yeah.
Not another guy I was seeing, which I would have let happen, actually. If I was seeing another guy named Frank, I would have let him pee on that guy's couch.
Yes.
That guy was shit. Anyway, but
God.
ultimately, that was, the biggest regret I have with that relationship is not telling the woman he was seeing. I just let it run its course. I was like, fuck, we need to hold men accountable.
No, absolutely, babe.
That's the worst one. That's the worst one.
I mean, I have a few worst ones if you're ready.
Yes. I'm ready my body is ready.
Okay, so obviously I kind of want to rank them. I want to do
Yeah. Okay, start with the lowest though. Start with the lowest.
So in third place. This is kind of fun. Okay. I dated a guy for quite a while. We went to college together. one of many fucking colleges I went to.
Yeah, you went to like 5, right?
Yeah, I went to 5.
Oh my God.
And I'm not done yet. I want to get my
You were
master's.
dating universities.
I should have had my own show, dating universities.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, I would give him like blowjobs before class. Like
Beaches?
Yeah, girl. Oh,
Pre-class
yeah.
beach?
Oh, yeah. He would like finger fuck me in the back of his van and all of that. Like,
But like good at it? Because that matters.
he was pretty. Yeah.
That's what
from what I can
matters.
remember, I'm pretty sure he was decent.
You know
Yeah.
how many times I've been fingered? I'm like, this is not it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Same. And then there's other times where I'm like, holy tits.
Yeah.
But yeah. But no, I took his virginity, you know, the whole fucking 9 yards.
Nice.
He was a super talented musician. Like, he certainly could go far.
Oh,
but
I bet he was good with those fingers.
Exactly. Playing the guitar. Exactly. But I mean, all right. So one time I told him that like I took like a couple hits of weed like a few nights before with some friends, and he broke up with me like instantly.
What?
Instantly.
Were you
like,
in Ohio?
I was in Ohio.
That
Yep.
makes sense. The tracks.
Like, he literally like got out of my car and walked back to my house, like, type thing. Like, he was that fucking
Ew.
pissed off. Yeah. So he gave me like a list of stipulations, like if we were going to continue to date, and wow.
Stop.
Like,
Wait, no, he gave these
Girl.
are the things these are oh my God, no. And I bet they're so shallow, but go on.
it's literally just like, okay, first of all, stipulations in general, like, what the fuck? But yeah, this list was absurd. Like, he told me I had to go to church every single week. He and his family are extremely religious, like more than I've ever witnessed before. Which, you know,
This
that's
guy
cool,
fucked you
but
before marriage.
oh yeah,
And,
for
like,
sure. And he even like was like fermenting his own wine in his closet, and like
Church wine?
and he was underage. Church wine. Yeah.
Love that.
Love that. And like, I obviously don't know if I was the best influence on him, but he also made those decisions himself.
Yeah,
Like, he
I
did that
mean-
wine shit himself. But anyway, yeah. So he told me I had to go to church every single week. I had to stop swearing. I had to stop hanging out with any guys that were my friends. I'm like, well, that's fucked up in general. I had to wash my sheets every week, which is an interesting one because, I mean, back then I didn't really care, but like, obviously I do now because like I sleep with Libby every single night, and like, in case someone comes over, of course I want it to be fresh. But like, he told me I had to stop drinking and like never
Ew.
touch weed again. I know. And I'm like,
Ew. So he was a feminist.
yes. I had to drive to him more than he drove to me. It was
Stop.
It was fucking insane.
Sounds very unequal.
Right. Yeah. So I obviously, like, I told him
Here's
to like,
the thing, though, I want to point out about this is these fucking stipulations. Like, you mentioned earlier, like, stipulations in general. No. Like, because, like, I have standards, right? I have stipulations, which is, like, I want you to make time for me.
right.
Right? I want somebody who, you know, is interested in taking care of me when I'm sad, you know, when I'm fucking PMSing, shit like that. Like,
Genuinely cares how my day went. Or
yes,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Those are our stipulations versus, like, hey, wash your sheets once a week.
Hey,
Like,
stop hanging out with your guy friends.
That's
like,
the thing
what?
is, like,
I'm not fucking them. I'm so confused.
you know, the reason that those are that's his laundry list is because you've provided everything else. The heavier stuff you were already providing, right? The time of day, the emotional weight, like all these things you were already giving to this person. So he's like, how much more can I get out of this? And how shallow can we get? How low can I go?
How low can you go?
So he's like, maybe
Let's do some fucking.
I make sure she doesn't curse as much.
Right.
Like, let's see. And it's like, oh my God, if that's your criteria, like, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Like,
Oh, yeah.
with women the rest of your life.
I mean,
Yeah.
he dated a chick like right after me, and I don't think that lasted at all. Like,
I do think, like, I do get nervous that sometimes men do get these kind of women who remain passive and cater to them and this and that. But you know what? I also, like, go to sleep thinking that they're going to get divorced. So.
oh yeah. But okay, in second place. And
Okay,
honestly,
second place here.
Okay, honestly, probably tied with first place. This was a very
Oh.
tough call. Very tough call. All right, so here we go. I was dating a guy I met on Tinder, of course, for 2 months, of course.
Always. That's the timeline, baby.
Right? Yeah, you know it. So he was in his 30s, so, you know, I figured he was a stand-up guy. Yeah, right. I soon found out, definitely fucking that. But I believe I mentioned this guy in our last episode because, like, when we were getting to know each other, he told me so many lies. Like, of course, I didn't know they were lies until a woman reached out to me on Facebook Messenger, as, you know,
Oh, wow.
that happens. Yeah. She was like,
That was the medium at the time, or the vehicle
Yeah.
for those kind of, like, saucy exchanges.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Controversial
Yeah, it was easy,
exchanges.
you know?
Yeah.
And she said, hey, like, I heard you're dating this guy. I'm his ex, and I wanted to give you the red flags I wish I got about him.
Oh.
I know. And
Okay, sis.
I know. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm just at work on the computer, like, reading all of it, like, losing my mind. So he told me he had no kids, but he had a son that he'd never met. Already a piece of shit for that, in my opinion.
Oh my God, yeah.
And a baby on the way with her.
Okay, no. Let's clarify. He said he had no kids.
No kids.
With him at the time. Right? And like, no, I got kids, but they're just not with me, so I got no kids, you know?
Right. Oh, that's hilarious.
Misunderstanding, right?
Right. Oh my God, that's funny as hell. Yeah, he said he had no siblings, but had a brother in prison. I mean, I even met his parents for some fucking reason. And they showed me baby books and, like, you know, not a single photo had the brother in them. So even the entire family just, like, wrote off the brother.
The one who was in jail?
He was in jail for, like, trying to have sex with, like, a 10-year-old chick or something like that. Yeah.
I would also be in jail, too, probably from all that neglect.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah. But, I mean, when her and I were, like, talking back and forth about, like, when she moved out of his house, like, recently at that time, she took back a grill that she got for his birthday because she felt it was, like, an even swap for giving back a necklace that he bought for her birthday. I know.
Okay.
And I was like, what did this necklace look like? And she described the necklace to a T that he gave to me.
What?
He re-gifted a fucking necklace and had an entire story about like how he picked it out at the mall that day and like how it wasn't exactly my birthstone, but it was like close enough, like, which makes sense because it was the March birthstone and she was born in fucking March and I was December.
He was playing it.
100%.
Oh my God.
Super insane. So like,
oh, I just mixed up the birthstone.
Right.
Or they just didn't have that one available and I couldn't wait to get it for you.
I knew you liked blue and turquoise as your favorite, but like, fuck that guy. But yeah.
Ew.
So when I went over to his house, this is the best.
Okay.
When I went over to his house within the next couple days to like chat, I brought the necklace with me.
Were you wearing it? Or
No.
Oh.
I knew that it was over with. Like I just wanted to like,
you were
lay it all
fucking
out.
with him.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah.
So
tell me.
I laid out like all the lies on the table that I found out about, and he was just like a little fucking like hunched over like kitty cat, just like taking all the punches. You know?
Good.
And I was like, and the last thing, here's the necklace that you re-gifted me, but don't worry, I packaged it all up nice and tidy for your next Tinder girlfriend. And I just like fucking tossed it to him and like walked out the door.
Yes. I
was
love
so
that.
proud of myself, dude. Like the best part of the story though, dude, get this, is like the girl and I met up at a bar. And we became friends, and we took a photo together, and we sent it to him.
I love that! Oh my God,
girl power. You know what I mean?
Amazing! Oh my God, yes, yeah.
But it's just like fuck that shit, dude. Like, fuck, you're in your 30s and you're still doing this.
Ew, yeah, it's just pathetic.
I mean, same with the first place guy. He's in his 30s and doing shit like that. But you ready for this one?
Yeah. Let's talk about first place here, and the award goes to for the worst boyfriend.
Awfully epic breakup.
Yeah.
Yes. So wow. This one. I was dating a guy out here in LA for, of course, 2 months.
2 months, it's a trend.
2 months before shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, he was, like, maybe only, like, the second guy I even thought about dating out here. It was the
first.
Like,
seriously?
Like, yeah, like, actually kind of like, you know what?
Oh, it's because he's a smooth talker, isn't it?
Of course. He was a charmer. Yeah. So.
That's how it was. No man is more charismatic as me.
Of course. Yeah.
So if you
I'm a good guy. Yeah. I'm a good guy.
Let me tell you.
I swear.
I just really love my mom.
Right. That's even perfect for this fucking story.
Yeah, if you have to say it, then maybe.
Right. Yeah. Don't think you're a stand-up
also,
guy.
yeah, I'm a good guy. I love my mom. It's like, I bet she's the only one you've been loving for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Is she even real? But yeah.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so I was like, okay, this could be good, but I always just kind of had my guard up. Like, even though we were definitely like going on dates and like talking every single day and unfortunately sleeping together, I still didn't feel like I was like alone in his mind. Like I had that feeling, and you always fucking trust your gut. So he would like say things like, oh, I didn't tell you this. Like, I swear I did. And like things like that. And it's like, okay, who else are you saying these things to, So just something was telling me to like to not take it too seriously. So I'm fucking glad I did and did not take it seriously, because it turns out I must have had just like a big ass sign on my back that's like, hey, pathological liars, like fucking find me and like treat me like shit, you know?
HMU, hit me up.
HMU. So, I mean, one time we were going out to lunch and he was like sitting next to me in my car, like texting a huge paragraph on his phone to someone. So, like, not to be like a creep or like any sort of like, you know, just like jealous chick or something. I was like, I looked over super quickly just for the fuck of it. I was curious.
Well, first of all, there's a situation like that just is a happenstance, right? You're looking in that general direction and your peripheral catches onto it. There's also a part of your intuition that was probably like, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, right? Just a bit ago, you were like, something's I never felt really exclusive with this person. Right. Even though it was conveyed like that.
Yeah, and he even told me that there was nobody else that he like wanted to pursue or anything like that. So I was like, okay.
But your intuition's telling you otherwise,
right? Exactly.
Right? So you look over and you glance and what happened?
Yeah, and so like I looked super quickly at his phone and saw it was like a girl's name with like a heart emoji next to it. And I'm like, this is interesting. So I end up like going on his Instagram and I'm like, of course he's probably following her, you know? And I search her name and holy shit. So I found photos of them together on like a romantic getaway in San Diego.
Stop.
Yep, the same weekend. He told me he was with his mom.
No.
Yep.
His mom was a scapegoat.
His mom was the fucking scapegoat, and I feel so bad.
Oh my God,
her.
what are these men?
Oh, bro, it gets even better.
Okay.
Yeah, so he told me, like, how he had to go sneak away to his car to, like, smoke weed so that, like, she wouldn't know, but, like, when he got back to the room, she still knew. And, like, he told me how he got drunk by himself that night while, like, forcing her to watch Rick and Morty. I'm like, okay. And ridiculousness or whatever. And he like told me how like he gave her the bed to sleep on so he could sleep on the futon, trying to like look like a good mama's boy. You know? So he sent me a selfie from that futon that weekend, and my smart ass saw a photo that the girl posted, you know, of that futon in the hotel room.
The same like couch.
Same thing.
Design.
I matched the fabric
to that
selfie, and I was like, I've never felt more of like an HGTV.
You know what is sad about this? I don't want you to feel like you're part of some crime show because it's just an attention to detail. And
of course.
Many women have it.
Right.
And like men, if you're going to cheat, just do better.
I watch HGTV, you know? Like I know what fucking all these fabrics look like.
Yeah, we also watch Law and Order.
Right?
But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't take somebody to watch those shows or be obsessed with anything
to even like, notice that. Yeah.
To have their, you know, to want to check on their intuition, to want to be sure. And you were right. Your gut was right, wasn't it?
I felt pretty badass in that moment. But, I mean, when I was piecing all of it together, like, he said he was with his mom that night because he was having a hard time because their dog passed away. And I felt like a bitch.
The dog's a scapegoat,
The dog was a scapegoat. But the dog actually...
He was a scapegoat.
But the dog actually did pass away. But I felt kind of bitchy that I had to, like, mention it on the same day that their dog died. But... I couldn't hold it in anymore.
You also didn't, he was the setup, right? He set himself up for that,
of course.
Right? Poor timing on his part. Right. Sorry you had to deliver the repercussions of that, right?
When did you decide to do, I don't know.
So sorry your dog died, but when did you decide to cheat? Was that a week ago? Because I don't know if you were timing this out right, but
it was literally the entire time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's unfortunate this guy's dog died, right? But it's like, he's also trying to use his dog's death, or you're rationalizing his dog's death as a reason not to reach out to him.
Exactly.
And that's not how
I even said, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Like, I was actually very, like, sympathetic with the whole situation, and, like, even knowing this, Becca.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't have said shit. I would have been like,
just like, goddamn.
I wouldn't have said shit about the dog. Let me clarify to our audience. I'm very confrontational, and I would not have said anything about rip the dog, you know, RIP this dog. I would have maybe waited a day and then have been like, yeah, you're a cheater.
I was not even gonna
absolutely
wait. I was like, fuck this. I gotta get this off my head.
For you. So what did you say? Yeah.
So I took a screenshot, like, of her photo, like quite all of her photos, really, like with the futon in it and the selfie he sent me. And I was like, are you sure you're actually with your mom, though, babe? And he had, like, no fucking clue what to say. So, of course, like, I reached out to the woman on Instagram.
You did, though. You reached out to her.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's so important. I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah. I was like, hey, girl, like, I know you don't know me, but like I want to let you know that I believe we are dating the same guy, and like laid out the whole situation to her and even sent her photos of him and I together so she knows like I'm not just like fucking around.
Yeah.
Because for some reason he wanted to document like everything, which I do too, but like why do you need a photo of us kissing when it's been 2 months? You
or
know?
while you're,
fucking other girls
while you have a rotation.
Right.
Yeah. Like have some modesty and some discretion, you know?
Right.
Like,
and so like
that's manipulative. It is purely manipulative.
Oh, big time. And so like she didn't get it until later that day, and she was like with him in a fucking hotel, of course, when he said he was with his mom. But she said she was like so shocked and so thankful that I reached out to her. And she like slid him the phone to let him read our messages.
she showed him.
Slid him the fucking phone. Yep. And he was like, she was like, Jen, like I wish you saw his face.
Oh,
like that
my God,
I would have
Jen.
killed to see his face.
God, you guys have some good moves.
I know. And she just walked the fuck out of the hotel. Like he was like in front of her car, like please don't go. You know, like things like that.
Oh my God.
And it's
yes,
crazy.
bitch.
I know.
Yes. We love it.
It's
we
crazy.
love to see justice.
And she was telling me all about it. She was like, yeah, dude, like he's been blowing me up all night. Like I love you.
What?
And like shit like that.
Did
And
he
I'm
reach
like,
out to you afterwards too?
he
Like
barely texted me because he knew he was in deep shit.
Oh yeah, like
He
there was no
knew.
saving that
Absolutely
relationship.
not.
But did he say something to you like oh like it's not what you think? Or
He did say like, I think I owe you a big apology.
Oh,
I was like,
fucking A.
I'm doing
Fucking A, dude. Like, okay, Captain Obvious, get on the boat, you know? Like,
get the fuck out. Yeah, so get this shit. So her and I ended up spending
we're
like,
blowing the mics.
We
We're
are.
like, obviously.
I can't help it.
Duh, you fucking idiot.
Oh my God. Yeah, so her and I ended up spending hours on the phone, like
Wait, really?
on FaceTime.
Oh,
yeah.
just chatting about his fuckery?
Yep, until like 5 in the fucking morning, just like unraveling all these lies that he had spun up. Like we were both so shook.
Fucking Spider-Man out here with these lies, you know?
Exactly. I mean, listen to this. So he told me he was in Santa Barbara with his mom on Valentine's Day, but he was actually with that girl that day. He told her that he was out to eat with his dad when he was with me when I saw them texting. I bought him like a foam roller because he was working out all the time, and
Oh, you're so nice.
I'm just like so nice.
You're such a good girlfriend.
I try, but I mean, he brought up to her that like, you know, maybe the next day or so, like, babe, I bought myself a foam roller because I've been working out so much lately. Like, just straight up like bringing the lies.
Doesn't
to
even
the
give you
surface.
credit.
No,
Like,
not even close.
Not even like my girl bestie. Like not even giving a woman credit.
No,
Like,
not even. Yeah, not even pretending to. Even throw me in there. But
yikes.
so get this shit. He knew my work schedule and like knew I worked nights all the time. So like while I was at work, he would be on the phone with her for hours and hours when he was saying he was sleeping. Like. Oh, that
I'm
was
just
a
saying,
pathetic one. That was a really bad burp.
This has got to be a full-time job to really play.
Oh, big time.
Okay, this
Big
is
time.
a big reason why I don't cheat is because like it's exhausting. Like I have to run a full life right outside of dating.
Oh, yeah.
So like when I'm seeing somebody and it's intense like that, it's like I just don't have time for anybody else.
No,
like how has this guy
right.
got a rotation going as intimate as it was?
Right, like
you know?
he was so incredibly calculated, like trying to date us both at the same time. Like I found it so fucking disgusting that he was literally probably fucking me and then within just like 8 hours fucking her. Or within 24 hours, whatever. Like, did you even shower between us?
Oh,
like,
God.
Oh my God, it's so gross. But
Yeah,
like you said, girl, like I want to reiterate how important it is for women to fucking stick together and tell each other these things. You
Absolutely.
know?
I'm like a raging feminist, so I'm absolutely gonna be like.
As she snaps, she's like,
yes,
raging
yes. I will always. You know what? And the thing is that woman, that very first relationship I had, that woman told me. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've realized how important it was. And my biggest regret in a lot of the relationships I had is that one I mentioned earlier, where I didn't tell the woman. I knew that relationship wasn't gonna last, so I let it run its course with that ex. And I knew his relationship with her wasn't gonna last.
You can always reach out.
I don't even know her name, and she's probably much richer than him now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, she's like, whatever, man.
No, she was like an architect or some shit, so she's fine.
Yeah. Aw.
But she's probably had much bigger dicks in her life since then, so she's fine. We're both fine.
That.
Okay,
We're
that's
doing
the thing.
great.
You're
You're
That's
doing
the
great,
thing is
sweetie.
that, yeah, her and I are literally probably thriving compared to that fucker,
Yeah,
you know? We do have to stick together as women, and I think it's so important. What's so important to me is that the way women react to those things. When you message that woman, you know, who was seeing this guy, you didn't know if they had an understanding, whatever. You're just like, hey, I just want you to know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're under a different impression, whatever. Like, I just want you to know.
Right.
And the fact that she reacted so kindly.
Oh, yeah. I was terrified she'd be a bitch.
I know. It's
terrified.
Which is weird because it's not it's not quite uncommon yet. And it should be uncommon because that's just what men want, is for us as women to like be pitted against each other when they're the root of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
When the man is the root of the problem.
Oh, of
and
course.
so like I've never been upset with a woman who's like, you know, kissed somebody I was dating or fucked somebody I was dating, you know, because it's just like there's one common denominator here, and it's the guy, right?
Unless she purposefully knew that you guys were dating, you know?
No, it still doesn't, because when you engage in something like that, it is a 50-50 decision, dear.
But it's still part of her if she purposefully knew that you guys were dating and she was still like, okay, whatever, I don't care, and like still goes for him,
Jen,
you know?
no, recalculate yourself.
Think that's fucked up.
Because it takes two, right? You agree. A man isn't just susceptible to like, you know, kissing another one. It's his decision too,
of
right?
course.
You can respect your partner or not, and that is the common denominator. If a girl is interested in your boyfriend or whatever it may be, and she tries for him and he doesn't reject her, then that's both of them contributing to that. That's both of them letting it happen.
But she's also being disrespectful to you if she knows.
She is. If she knows, yes. But still, at the end of the day, he had the opportunity to say no and didn't, right?
Right.
So, yeah, okay. So if it is a woman, and what you're saying is what I'm understanding now, is that if she knows you're together with somebody, if this woman knew...
It's a different story, yeah.
It kind of, I mean... both deserve blame, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the situations we're talking about where this guy's blatantly cheated on us,
right?
We didn't know about each other, right?
Yeah.
The fault falls on one person, right? I totally understand what you're saying now. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but like, you know, in terms of cheaters and liars, like, do you believe the saying that like a cheater is always a cheater? Or do you believe people can change and can learn from their mistakes?
Yeah, you know what? I have only known, of course, my first boyfriend who cheated on me. And then I've even had guys, one of the guys who ghosted on me and went back to his ex later said, I'm so sorry I treated you that way, blah, blah, blah. Like, he didn't technically cheat on me. Like, he like separated from me and then got back with his ex, but he still felt really bad about what he did. Anyway, whenever I've talked to somebody who has cheated, it has been a woman. I have a couple friends who have cheated, and they were very young. They were not invested in their relationship at the time. And so it is contextual, right? It's very contextual. It's hard because I do think when it comes to men, it's like, I just don't trust that, because for me, it's like once a cheater, always a cheater. Because it's so...
Generally, with all men?
With men. Yeah, you know what? And it's because I feel like I just don't feel that remorse or guilt. And I've never had a man any man who's actually cheated on me, I've never heard, like, he never apologized for those things, right? He might have learned from them. And that's the thing, too. That's what I'm getting at, is that maybe I do ultimately believe that a man who is a cheater is always a cheater. And it really does have to do with underlying, right, privilege and opportunity and taking things for granted. Things that men have that they don't, or things men don't have to experience that we as women do emotionally have to experience a lot.
Yeah.
And we understand the weight of those things. Whereas men can cheat and not feel like it's a big deal and carry on, and they don't learn until much later in life how much of an emotional impact it has. Anyway, we learn those things early on as women, and so that's why when I don't necessarily believe it for women, but I do believe it for men. Once a cheater, always a cheater. I guess it is a bit extreme, right? Like, now I'm saying it out loud, and I'm like, maybe it's like, I feel like there are probably men who have cheated on their high school girlfriends who did learn their lesson, who saw the hurt in a woman,
right,
and decided I would never put a woman through that. And I had an ex who again didn't cheat on me, but he did go back to his ex, and later, after his ex and him split up, he came to me and said, I'm so sorry. I will never do that to somebody else, what I did to you. And that matters to me, right?
But it's also like you need to check in 20 years and see if he held true to that.
Right,
you know
right. Well, I'm not keeping him, again, like, this guy's never...
Hey, by the way, remember when you told me this? Like,
this guy's never going to touch me again. And a woman of quality wouldn't let that happen anyway, so...
No, I mean, like, just to ask.
Just be like, FYI... What are you up to?
I'm keeping tabs on you. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? I guess I'm a little bit mixed about the situation.
Yeah.
Because it is contextual. Like,
yeah.
the younger you are, high school, like, you're discovering your sexuality. You don't understand the ethicality involved or the emotion involved necessarily.
Right. Or even
you're
in
like,
college,
fucking,
too.
Yeah. College is a huge hoe phase.
Huge hoe phase. Oh,
huge
yeah.
Huge hoe phase. You're like, fucking feels so good. And there's so many different kinds of people I could fuck. And, like, but it's like, I don't know, like, it is like, I do think when you engage in somebody and you have an explicit conversation with somebody, like, to be exclusive, unless there's a bigger circumstance at hand, then if you're cheating on them, then clearly you're not invested in them and you're taking advantage of those emotions. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I personally believe it's all based on the person. I mean, if someone cheated in the past, like, I don't believe it automatically that makes them a cheater for life.
Yeah.
I mean, but they obviously need to put in that effort themselves to make sure that they don't make it a recurring occasion or a habit.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there are definitely serial cheaters out there that will, like, never change. But I do think there are definitely some people that have, done it once, like you said, felt fucking awful. And
well,
just,
I think
never
the catch-up is, you say serial cheaters, and it's, like, clearly people who don't want a relationship.
Yeah.
Who are
so
saying,
it's like, why are you getting into it then?
Saying they do. They want the
Right.
intimacy and the and the passion and the caliber of what a relationship is, but they don't want the very standard and surface level commitment of it, and that is when they become serial cheaters, right? But yeah, I think that like, once you say, oh, this is exclusive, oh, this is this is intense, this is what I want, and then you do it with somebody else, then that is like blatant cheating, right? It's when those things, those lines get blurred, right? When it becomes more understandable, I guess.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what happened to me. It was pretty much kind of blurred lines. Like, is this over? Is this not? Like,
you had been cheated on, or you cheated?
I want to say I did cheat. Because, like, one time...
Well, you should say it then. Well, okay.
But it was blurred lines. So, like you said, like, I was dating a guy, like, on and off for over 4 years. Like, we broke up, like, literally, like, 8 times, 10 times. Like, that many times, girl.
Right.
It should have never lasted as long as it did.
Right. At what point did it feel like a convenience, right? Like, where you're like, well, we aren't supposed to be together, but... what are you doing?
No, yeah, for sure. It's exactly it. Like, I've
been in that situation too, and which with much shorter relationships where I've been like, well, actually, with the last guy I dated, I was like, I literally don't want to start dating again, so I'm gonna hang on to this very toxic relationship because it would be a consistent lay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even though, like, way out of this guy's league, I deserve much better than this person. I was like, maybe we should continue this toxicity because it's something rather than nothing.
It was like one of those things, like, we knew we shouldn't be together, but we both were like, let's try.
Yeah.
Like, over and over and over,
and over and over again.
And so, like, we were already living at, like, an extremely, like, long distance. And, like, we even recently reconciled for, like, the millionth time, like, a bit before it. But, like, I mean, it was obviously, like, towards the end of the rope. Like, we were so far removed, just, like, completely checked out. And it hurt. Like, we were...
So, emotionally, obviously, physically, you were distance apart, right?
Right. So, both things, like, emotionally and physically, we were both checked out, So,
it was... I mean, it had ended before it ended.
Exactly. So, it's like... But there wasn't an actual final...
Right, because neither of you could say something,
Yeah,
right?
because it was so fucking long of going back and forth. Like, is it over? Is it not?
Yeah.
So, like, I did say yes to, like, getting drinks with a guy. Like, not really exactly knowing what it meant, but, like, we did end up kissing, like, several times. So, I mean, I felt absolutely awful about it. Like, even though the relationship was hanging by a thread and we both knew we weren't happy. But, like, I told him very shortly after that. And it was, like... pretty much almost the end of the relationship at that point.
So really quick, so this guy, you were in a relationship with somebody a couple of states away. I'm guessing you didn't hook up with this person between, kissing the one person, the person that was... You didn't hook up with the boyfriend between then.
Oh,
you
no.
like broke up with him.
Oh no, yeah, like I told him like the next day. Pretty
Okay.
much.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Not even 24 hours.
Right,
And you're
like,
like dealing with the guilt. You're
I
like,
was so,
I gotta
I
tell
felt
this guy.
so bad, dude. Yeah, because I was like, fuck, like we're not officially done, but like
that's still better than that's still better than literally most cheaters, right?
mean,
A lot of
yeah.
cheaters will like will cheat and then still come back to you and fuck you, and it's
I
like not
know.
okay, right?
But we
Like,
were literally just talking about how we're like not happy, and then like that happens, and I was like, well, this fucking
it's
solidifies.
just
like,
it is. It's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, big time.
So you know what? And sometimes that's what it takes. I think what's good that you did here is that, and I think this has happened to me. I do have a relationship where I don't know that my ex physically cheated on me, but I think he was emotionally invested in somebody
yeah.
else. But like the thing is, what's important,
Which is even worse to me personally.
well, you're getting to know somebody, you're emotionally investing in them. Sex is just a cherry on top, right?
And I didn't even fucking fuck the guy.
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean?
No, but
Not that
what
is
is
any
important
better,
is
but,
that
you know.
you did end things with this other guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a short story. I was seeing somebody in LA for a couple months, and right when, and it's because I didn't know my own I was testing my own ethical boundaries. Anyway, I was dating or whatever, and I was dating kind of two guys. I'd had sex with one of them a lot. It was very good. I couldn't keep passing that up. It was so nice. But I was, it was, woo. But I was also going on dates with another guy. And I had gone on, so after this, the guy I was physically hooking up with and dating, and we were having a great time. We were sleeping together, and we had slept together one morning, and he was like, he's like, I have to let you know I'm not seeing anybody else.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't really want to see anybody else. And I was like, yeah, me neither. Like, I really like spending time with you, this and that. And so basically we agreed right then and there that we were exclusive. That fucking night, I had another date with that other guy I was seeing.
No way.
Yeah, so I kind of lied. I did kind of lie to this guy and that I was exclusively seeing. So I went on this other date with this guy. So I had to bail. I was spending the day with this one guy, and I had to bail to get to this date. And so I fucking lied and said I was going to my gay boyfriend's house. And his fucking intuition is unlike any other. This guy knew the whole time. But anyway, so I go on this other date. It's the second date with this guy. I haven't even, never kissed him, nothing. Decided after the second date I didn't want to see him and that I did want to be exclusive with the guy I was seeing earlier.
Yeah.
And you know what? That alone made me feel so guilty. I felt so guilty because you know what? Eventually, the guy I was seeing, he asked me, he's like, were you really going to see your friends or were you going on another date?
No way.
He fucking knew, Jen.
Knew?
He knew. And it's, you know what? It's
Yeah.
because I think I'm a good liar and I'm not.
No, I'm an awful fucking liar. I mean, the guy that we, this whole situation with, we caught up a few times in person after that. We were trying to figure out what we were again for the millionth time. And, we ended up as friends. So, thankfully there is, a silver lining.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you did. We were cordial after that.
Yeah. But I mean...
Yeah, so the guy I ended up seeing, he forgave me, which I feel he did. And we ended up dating for about 6 months. Ultimately, I just didn't see myself marrying this man, right?
Right.
Adored him, though. And he's going to make some woman... He's dating a hot blonde in Arizona now. He's fine. He's going to be a brilliant brain surgeon one day. He's fine. He'll be fine.
Those fingers.
Yeah, he had great hands. Those fucking hands were, woo. But, yeah, no, he's fine. But anyway, I feel so grateful that he did forgive me for even that kind of ethical slip up, right? I didn't even, this guy I went on a date with, I didn't even kiss him. I was not physical with him at all. But I still felt so emotionally attacked.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I felt bad because I did lie to him. And that's what it is, right? It's a lie. It's not the fact that you physically made contact with somebody else. It's that you lied to the person.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So when you learn from that, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, cheating and lying is, at least for me, it's an end-all, be-all. If I'm seriously committed to someone and they're supposed to be committed to me, the relationship is never going to be strong again as it was, before.
Oh, it's definitely not. Yeah. So whether you're the cheater or you've been cheated on, call it quits, right?
Big time.
Don't try to salvage it.
Plain and simple.
Move on.
the trust is gone. The trust is broken.
Absolutely gone. And it's only going to get more toxic from there,
big time. I mean, everyone tries to make it work, and it's just like, guys, what are you doing? Like, it's obviously there's a reason for things happening, you know? But I mean, in terms of that guy, though, like, I would say he was my most civil breakup after that. Because
wait, the 4-year guy? The one
4-year guy.
Yeah. Okay, so lightening it up a little bit. This civil breakups, right? You've gone through breakups where it's like you knew it was never going to work out, right? And finally you acknowledge that.
Yeah. I mean, but also like with him, it was just like one of those things like he treated me so well, and there was like not a single like character flaw, and like I just didn't treat him the way he deserved, and I believe looking back, like it boiled down to immaturity. Like I was just immature about it, like a lot of situations for a majority of the relationship, and not really truly ready for what it entailed, and was like expected to like fully commit, obviously. And so like when we finally broke it off officially, like I don't regret the breakup whatsoever, because it was a long time coming, and we both knew that, and like it should have happened a lot sooner than it did. But I wouldn't go back and change anything, because like we both certainly moved on. But I mean, I would give him a 10 out of 10 on ratemyexes.com.
ratemyexes.com. We're gonna start that after this.
Do that.
But okay, so you said you don't regret anything, but
No.
would you go back to that person?
No.
Okay.
No, he's so good. He's a great guy. Like we check in on each other once in a while, but like it's no.
Sure.
We knew for a while it wouldn't work, but we
Sure.
tried our hardest.
I had an ex in Indianapolis who, what a wonderful guy. I think he still had a lot to learn when he dated. He was my probably second serious boyfriend. Somebody I had very much was excited to build something with. It was about 6 months into our relationship. I'm very vocal, and I'm very transparent. And 6 months into our relationship, I was basically like, I don't see myself living in Indiana for the rest of my life.
Right, same. That's another thing.
I don't want to live in the Midwest the rest of my life. I want to go see. I also grew up like where I had limited opportunity to see the world and what it had to offer and experience things. And so, one big thing for me was like, I want to live in different places. I want to experience different places. Mm-hmm. And, I dealt with a lot of seasonal depression when I was in the Midwest. So like when it's very cold, my body would shut down. Literally, this ex could tell you that there was one day I was at his house. I just burst into tears on the couch because I was so cold. Like I could not get warm, and the sun wasn't out. It was dark out, right? All these things. And it was like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, right? It was a winter day in Indiana, and I just burst into tears because I could not handle how depressed I was. Anyway, it was 6 months into our relationship. I was very transparent about wanting to live and work in the West, wherever it may be, Arizona, California, even considered Colorado, because the sun is out like 90% of the year.
Wow.
In Colorado.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the sun shines a lot out there. That's when this guy was not great about being transparent himself, about emoting and talking about his emotions and how he feels about things. Mm-hmm. So he kind of started to shut down, and he eventually stopped touching me. He stopped engaging with me.
Aww.
Yeah, it was so sad. And eventually I realized, oh my God, we just want different things. This guy had built such a beautiful life in Indianapolis. He had bought his own house. He had a great job. He was a very kind person. He had a wonderful family. It was like, holy shit, like he's just looking for somebody to complete his life. And he thought that person could have been me. And I thought that person could have been me. But the reality of the situation is it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And eventually I got the opportunity to move out here to California, and I took it. And he knew I would take that in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. I think what hurt me about that relationship is that if he were to get a job, he was an engineer. So first of all, he was an engineer, so he could get a fucking job anywhere, right? I was a writer, right?
Right.
Anyway, I think what hurt me the most about that relationship was understanding that if he were to move, I would have gone with him. But if I moved, he would not have come with me.
Interesting.
And there's layers to that, right? He had certain assets I didn't have, things like that. He had family in Indianapolis. I really didn't, things like that. So he was much more tied to the area than I was.
Yeah.
But again, we ultimately decided we didn't want the same things in life. And honestly, the hardest breakup I've been through. Because because it's easy to dismiss somebody when they've treated you poorly or when they fucking cheated on you, right? Like there are times I wish that he had just cheated because I would.
It's easier to deal with in your mind.
The grieving process is so much shorter, right? But yeah, as far as like I don't regret that breakup, but it was probably the heaviest for me. Like that was the most civil breakup, right? Yeah. We just wanted different things in life.
Would you have sex with people after you break up with them? Does that help with like closure? Do you think it like makes it worse? For me?
Ooh.
You want to know about me? Because
Yeah.
I've had sex with one ex after breaking up. And it was one of those situations where we had like the sexual tension like built up for years.
Just one? Like to date? Only one?
I think it's only one. Yeah.
3 for me. But go on.
Yeah. It was like one of those things like where, you know, the sexual tension was built up for like years and we never really got to like explore like the main avenue, you know, when we were together. So like we finally did years after, but it was actually pretty subpar. But but I mean, like, I feel like in that instance, you know, the sex was the closure. Like, I'm happy it happened. I don't think it made getting over him like any worse or anything. But, you know, nowadays, I don't think I will ever have sex with a man after breaking up with him. It's just not really worth it.
I'm a huge slut for post-breakup sex. Yeah.
I mean, you did say earlier, like not on the podcast, but she did say she loves makeup sex. Or is that what it is? After you have huge fights, I don't even want to talk to you, let alone fuck you after I fuck.
Well, I guess it does depend on what the guy does, but and there's some psychological reasoning behind this, right? That's really complex, but it's basically I don't give a fuck. But it was basically my like. You know, I do feel powerful in those moments. Like, okay, like we know this isn't gonna work out, but like I still have like some kind of hold on this person, right? I have had sex post breakup with at least 3 men. Actually 4?
Did it change your mind about anything? Like
no.
Okay, you knew it was over. No, you're just like, I want one more time. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, for me, at that point, because I'm not emotionally invested anymore, right? You go through a breakup and you realize it's not going to work out. Like, you set your sights on something that won't exist ever. And then it's just like, okay, well, what did we enjoy about each other? Mm-hmm. And it was the fucking. That was it, you know?
Wow, great
so
basis.
I have my high school boyfriend, actually, funny enough, my high school boyfriend I hooked up with this first summer I got back from college. I hooked up with him. I'm trying to remember these guys. my Indianapolis boyfriend, the one I was just talking about, we broke up, and then that was one of those situations where you break up and then you hook up and then you kind of get back together again. Yeah. And then you ultimately move to California. So
right. I mean, there you go.
The doc. The doc was the guy with the hands, the brain surgeon. We actually were a little quarantine thing. So before he went to med school, we had a bit of a fling that was nice. And you know what? That I want to make sure this is clear that I believe it or not, as hot of a commodity as I am, I've only broken up with like 2 guys in my whole entire like dating career.
Wow.
Yeah.
They all broke up with you.
Yeah.
Poor Becca.
It's because, well, and that's another thing, a testament to the fucking post-breakup thing, is that I will hold on to any amount of affection that I can get consistently. And that's, that way you know, that's, I got mommy and daddy issues, guys. So I'm hanging on by like anything I can.
I'm like, I see all these red flags, but like maybe they're orange.
Oh, like, yeah, absolutely. Oh, the last fucking skinny, scrawny white guy, book smart white guy I dated. I begged to stay with him. I was like, I don't want to date anybody else. Like, I just want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then like a couple of weeks removed, I was like, this guy ain't shit. Exactly. You know? I was just trying to fuck. So.
I mean, is closure like important to you, like, or is it worth it? Because like for me, like I feel like closure is important, absolutely, but like sometimes relationships or flings like don't really deserve any closure. Like sometimes you just leave it at what it is and move on from that. You know, sometimes you deserve conversations to be had, you know, between the both of you. It's all situational for me, you know, but then other times you do, like you just want to jump their bones and just get laid and then just like deal with that later. But I've been a person who has gotten the closure conversation.
without fucking, right? I've also been the person who hasn't had that explicit closure conversation and still fucked. But I've not had the closure conversation, and then I have. And ultimately, from my experience, you don't really hear what each other has to say.
Right.
Like, I'm just going to disagree with this person. I dated a guy for a little bit a couple months ago who came off as so naive in his experience. And and he was respectful enough to break up with me in person and to even have a closure conversation with me, mostly because I asked for it, right?
Yeah.
And even after the fact, I was just like, this guy has no idea. He has no idea what it takes, right? He has a lot to learn, right? So nothing he said to me was like impactful.
Yeah.
Right? The closure conversation was mostly me being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
what was this about? Can you lay out?
No, truly, what the fuck are you thinking?
Right.
And the answer was like, I don't know. I'm a privileged white guy, you know?
Oh.
And this guy didn't have, he had an emotional bone in his body. He did have it, but it's just like, man, the sensitivity was of a different level.
Aww, yeah.
Like, and it was selfish. And I was like, okay, right, you can't want to be in a relationship and not be able to give to it, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but basically, as far as closure is concerned, I'm sorry, my cat keeps chewing on the fucking mic over here. Beefy, scram. As far as closure is concerned, I don't know that it's super beneficial. I just don't. Like, in the conversations I had that were closure conversations, like, I didn't learn anything from that.
Yeah.
I learned that men are more pathetic than I thought they were before. So, maybe I hope it's different for men. I hope men do have those closure conversations so that they can learn from women who are emotionally stable, who are interested in building something with somebody.
But I mean, it could be the other way around too. Maybe the girl is the one that's emotionally unstable.
Yeah, but I just think the probability or the odds are not as heavy on women as they are on men. Ew, right? Majority is probably men are the ones who emotionally stable. Or the women who aren't are because they've already been scarred by men so much, Like, white men are the elite class. We're not disagreeing there, so.
How do you cope after a breakup? Because
oh my gosh, girl. I'm so glad you asked. I just chain smoke and don't eat for a week.
For me, I'm the opposite, girl. I binge eat.
Swear, I don't. I literally chain smoke. I lose sleep. Because I am so emotionally invested in people. And if anything, I've learned to not be, which is kind of sad. Which I love to love. I just really do love to give love. And I want that in return. And when I'm given, I know it is sad. When I'm given
that was a little one.
Little baby one. When I'm given a hard no or ghosted or whatever it may be, that sucks because all that emotion I invested in a person is dismissed, is rejected, right? And so that's hard for me to to process. And so my way of processing it is fucking buying a pack of Camel Blues, buying a bottle of Cab, not sleeping, writing. I write for days. I'll write every little fucking poetic line, every bigger rationale about the patriarchy. Like I'm writing, I'm smoking, I'm not eating. I went through a breakup one time and lost 10 pounds in 7 days because I was just
oh my God,
just drinking water and chain smoking, and not a diet I recommend, by the way. This is
sounds like the Lindsay Lohan diet.
But yeah, that's my coping mechanism. And then I come out of it, right? I eventually, I grieve for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then I have, I'm so grateful for people like you, Jen. And have been drinking, so I might get a little sentimental. But I have a wonderful network of friends, and those friends are very quick to get me out of those situations. So very appreciative of people like you, and
thanks, babe.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, so you're binge eating while you're breaking up.
I'm fucking binge eating. I mean, I do that in general when I'm stressed out about anything. I have to get a handle on that. But I think coping with breakups has obviously become a lot easier the older I get, and telling myself that it's just a guy, it's not the end of the world, and that obviously everything happens for a reason, you know? Like, obviously is not the one for me if things transpired the way they did, whether anything was my fault or a majority of the time theirs, you know? It's one of those things.
I think what's important too is like you do sit back and learn from it, right? Whether we as women learn, oh, we will never let a man treat us like that again. Or if it's a man saying, I will never treat a woman like that again, right?
Yeah.
I feel like those are commonplace. It could be switched, right? A woman could be like, I'll never do that to somebody else again, right? I will do better about what I want, and I'll be more forward about what I want next time.
Exactly.
Right? Which only makes us better as partners, right? So we do have to experience these breakups. We do have to go through this coping, this grieving phase, right? It's just not cute when it happens, right?
Yeah. And you obviously you have to look at them as lessons. Like, don't trust people so easily. Listen to your gut, like I did. You know, like I don't know. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, I'm a hopeless romantic. Like, I want things to work out for the long run, but like in the end, I've learned that what isn't meant to happen will make its way out of your life, and what is meant to happen will stay. Like,
right,
you know?
and you know, we talk about the lessons learned, and I think the biggest lessons learned is like, well, for me and women like me who do take care of themselves, who are financially stable, who are emotionally stable, things like that, is like we realize as the older we get, the more relationships we experience, is that, oh my gosh, we do not have time for somebody who we have to really cater to anymore, who's not going to cater to us, right? I don't have time for a man who can't give me what I'm willing to give him.
It's a two-way street.
Absolutely. And I want to say too is like people, there's a stigma against walls. Putting up walls, right? And the fact of the matter is, I have a lot of walls now because of the way of my past relationships.
Too.
And people are like, oh, we have to look at walls, not that they're a bad thing, but that they're something to endure and to get through.
I was just going to ask you, like, should we look at that as like something that's just like an, you know, kind of a burden to other people on the outside?
No, I think we have to think of walls as just as filters, right? Like, or something, you know, somebody has to prove themselves to you, right? The reason I have walls is because repeatedly men have been disappointing. The men who I thought were good on paper, the men who I thought, you know, treated me well or talked to me smoothly, you know, the men who, you know, made time for me in the interim until their ex came back around.
Unbelievable.
And so those walls are put up for a reason, right? And so it is really going to take somebody substantial to break through them again and to prove to me, right? And ultimately, I'll find a great partner that way because of those walls, right? Because of those filters I have up, right?
Yeah.
So those walls are important, I would say. And I think that the way they're stigmatized or the way, oh, like this person's hiding something or they have so many walls put up, whatever, they're so guarded. And it's like, fuck, there's a reason, all right? Look in a mirror, my privileged white guy, you know?
My guy.
I swear to God, if I date one more skinny, scrawny, fucking, like, privileged, like, skater kid, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
You gotta change your little demographics
you know
on
what?
your
Okay,
dating app.
So now that the guy I've been referencing too, the one who was very good to me, who was great with his hands, the totally not my type. He was like kind of like preppy Armenian Jew, actually. So he like totally different from anybody I've ever dated, and the best guy who's ever has ever treated me.
Oh,
like,
good.
You know. And then so that is kind of a breakup I kind of wish I would have worked through.
Oh, okay.
Because just the way that he cared about me was unlike any fucking skinny skater guy has ever done, right?
Yeah.
And so not my stereotypical type I'm drawn to, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, you know, he was able to break through those walls, and while I have a guard up for other fucking scrawny white guys who skateboard, so... So if you're not a scrawny white guy who skateboards...
Stay away from Becca.
No, if you're not a scrawny white guy who skateboards, you've already broken down one wall. So congratulations.
They're used to riding on rails.
Slide into my DMs.
All right, my girl Becca. I mean, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, we do.
Like we need to wrap up dicks. So
yeah. So slide into our DMs if you're interested. We're both single, but we are looking for you to break down some walls.
Babe, thank you so much for coming on Unwomanly for the second time. I already can't fucking wait for like a third round. I love you, babe, and you know that.
Love you. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be fucking good. But everyone, be sure to check out Becca on Instagram at Becca Wolfley, and keep up with me and the Unwomanly podcast by following @Unwomanly Podcast on Instagram. I'm Jen Danczak, and I'll see you next time here on Unwomanly.